All right, so for today's warm-up, number 9, we have the mapping diagram below. It represents all points on the graph of function f. What is the domain of f? Domain refers to our x values. Whenever you see the word domain, think of x values. Do not automatically think it's all real numbers. All real numbers is only your domain if you have a function like a quadratic function or an exponential function, because you could have any possible input to get your output. But if they give you a function like that was given here in question 1, they are asking for you to identify your possible x values, which in this case are 3, 5, and 7. So your answer is C. Moving on to question 2. Which table matches 4x plus 7y equals 19? So they gave you a linear function. We have an x and a y value. And to solve this, we're going to take those x values and we're going to take those y values and we're going to plug them into the equation to see if we get a true statement. So when I plug in negative 18 into the equation, so I'm replacing the x with negative 18, and I'm replacing the y with 13, I get negative 72 plus 91 equals 19, and that is true. 19 does equal 19. When I plug in 1 for my x and 15 for my y, I get 4 plus 105 equals 19. Well, 109 does not equal 100 or 19, so that is not true. So I can now cross out table A. Now we're going to start looking at table B, where I have negative 9 for my x and 2 for my y. Well, 4 times negative 9 gives me negative 36. 7 times 2 gives me 14. But negative 36 plus 14 gives me a negative 22. Negative 22 does not equal 19. Therefore, B, table B, is not one of my answers. In table C, they start off with the x value of 0 and the y value of 5. So I'm going to plug in my 0 and 5 into the equation. When I do that, I get 35 is equal to 19. Again, that is not true, so I can remove that from a solution. Okay, now in D, I have negative 18 and 13 again, just like I did in A. I know that's true because I've already done the math. Now I'm going to plug in negative 11 and 9, and I get negative 44 plus 63, which is 19. So 19 does equal 19. Then I have negative 4 and 5 for my x and y values. I'm going to plug in the x, plug in the y, and I get negative 16 plus 35 is equal to 19. And yes, that is true. So my correct answer here is D. Now we're going to move on to question number 3, which is our function of the day. Ignore those highlighters. We'll get there in a second. So when we're doing a function of the day, we want to rearrange it to slope-intercept form. That should be the first thing that you do, is rearrange it to slope-intercept form. So what that means is I'm solving for y. I want to isolate that y. So I'm going to add 3 to both sides, and I get y is equal to a negative 2 multiplied by x minus 2 plus 3, because I added that 3. And that's going to simplify to be y equals negative 2x plus 4 plus 3. So I end up with y is equal to a negative 2x plus 7. Now that I have that in slope-intercept form, now I'm going to use that equation to fill in my table. So first I'm going to do my y-intercept. And the reason why I always do my y-intercept first is because when I'm in slope-intercept form, that constant is my y-intercept. So I'm at 0, 7, and I can list my y-intercept as 0, 7. Then I'm going to find f of negative 2 using this function, my slope-intercept form. So f of negative 2 is equal to negative 2 multiplied by negative 2 plus 7. All I did was plug in that negative 2 for my x. And when I solve that, I'm going to get 4 plus 7, and that's equal to 11. I cannot graph that point because it does not fit on my coordinate plane. Then I'm going to find f of 2. When I find f of 2, I get 3. Then I'm going to find f of 4. When I plug in that 4 for x, I get a negative 1. Then I find f of 5, and I get negative 3. Then I'm going to plot all of these points on my graph and draw my line. And that's it for warm up number 9.